Alright, guys, I'm finally back. I took a long hiatus. I was just going through a lot of stuff. And as for my WrestleMania rebookings, I'll continue them when WrestleMania season comes back. But right now, we're in August. And, that means SummerSlam. Well, except for this year, they had SummerSlam in July, which was kind of weird. But, hey, it is what it is. We're still in August. And I wanted to rebook a couple of SummerSlams. I'm not going to rebook all of them. I'm just going to rebook some SummerSlams that I think, that were kind of disappointing and I have better ideas for. So, the first SummerSlam I'm going to book will be SummerSlam 1999. Once again, 1999 was a great year in terms of the television, the entertainment, but the in-ring, especially on the pay-per-views, weren't that great. And I'm going to try and, help improve this card. So here we go. Let's go through the original card before I get into my card. As I'm just typing on Google to get the Wikipedia. Here we go. So the first match, Jeff Jarrett defeats D'Lo Brown for the Intercontinental and European Championship. The Acolytes win a tag team tournament to become number one contenders. Al Snow defeats the Big Boss Man for the Hardcore Championship. Ivory retains against Terri for the Women's Championship. Ken Shamrock defeated Steve Blackman in a Lion's Den weapon match. Tess defeated Shane McMahon in a Greenwich street fight, Love Her or Leave Her, which was a great match. And then we have the Tag Team Championship match. The Unholy Alliance defeats Kane and XPac. And we have the iconic squash of The Rock defeating Billy Gunn, sending Billy Gunn back to the mid-card. And then we got the main event, special guest referee Jesse Ventura. Mankind defeats Steve Austin and Triple H, which had, kind of a weird booking where Chyna was the number one contender and Mankind was the number one contender. So, yeah, just strange booking all around. But you know what? It wasn't that bad. I thought the street fight was pretty good. The main event was solid, and it was still a hot time period, so the fans were definitely hot for it. But yeah, let's get into my card. So the first match, I'm going to have a ladder match. Yeah, the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian. We all know that, they had the match at No Mercy. But, hindsight being 2020, I'm going to have them have this match here. It could be the same build where, Terri, she has a tournament, to become, a tag team manager, and also they win the money. And in the build, I'd have a, Gangrel. He'd turn on Edge and Christian, and he'd try to join the Hardy Boys. But the Hardy Boys would stay face, and, they'd all, attack Gangrel. And in this tournament, they both make it to the finals. It's a face versus face match. Edge and Christian are still faces here. And yeah, just be a great way to, to kick off the show, number one. And number two, I think, their ladder match at No Mercy was great, but if it was at SummerSlam, it would even have a bigger, aura around it. So, yeah, hindsight being 2020, to have Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian in the ladder match, the finals of the Terri Invitational Tournament, which is funny because the acronyms were TIT, aka Tits, but, added to their fun. Alright, the second match, World Tag Team Championship match, Kane and X-Pac versus the Big Boss Man and Mideon. Big Boss Man and Mideon will be a part of the corporate ministry. Big Boss Man, obviously, is the corporate guy, and Mideon from the ministry. And yeah, this feud would be pretty cool. I'd have, the ministry kind of attack X-Pac, and, they're trying to get Kane to join the corporate ministry, but Kane, he's, he built a great friendship with X-Pac, and he's always coming to save him, so yeah, that'd be a typical build right there, and I'd have Kane and X-Pac win. They had a great tag team. I don't know what happened to X-Pac after this, because he's just started getting a lot of heat, but at this time, he was very popular with Kane, and there's also rumors of Kane having a green suit. And if that was True, I'd actually have him bring it out here. It would be a pretty cool moment at SummerSlam. Alright, then we have the European Championship. We got a street fight. Shane McMahon versus Test. So we have the same build where Test, he wants to get with Shane. He wants to get with Stephanie, but Shane's being an overprotective brother. And I just have the European Championship because if you guys remember WrestleMania 15, Shane McMahon did defeat XPac for the European Championship. And rather than Mideon finding it like in a bag and him becoming the new European Championship, I'd have Shane just hold it and not defend it. So, he'll get a lot of heat for not defending it, and then it would add also more, heat to the match. Have the title on the line along with the stipulation. If Test wins, he gets to date Stephanie. So I have the same match. It was probably the best match on the card, and Test gets to win. Next match, we have the Intercontinental Championship match. Jeff Jarrett versus Chyna. I know they had this match at Unforgiven and at No Mercy, but this is a big moment. SummerSlam. Let's get it on this card. And, you can kind of have this, what happened at Unforgiven, where Chyna kind of gets screwed out of winning, and then you can, continue it the next one where Chyna wins at Unforgiven. That way, you don't have to worry about Jeff Jarrett holding up Vince for money, so I'm also saving Vince some money, so. And yeah, the build would be typical where Jeff Jarrett, he keeps, hitting the guitar and these women, and then Chyna says, you're picking on all these women, why don't you try to pick on me? And yeah, during the build, Jeff Jarrett could definitely hit Chyna with the guitar and get some heat on him. I think it'd be a fun match. 1999 is probably Jeff Jarrett's finest work in the WWF. He was clicking as a heel, so. And Chyna, she was definitely getting over it, starting her singles run. Alright. The next match, we got the Battle of the New Age Outlaws. We got Road Dogg versus Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn did turn heel here, but I feel like they didn't capitalize on having a pay-per-view match. New Age Outlaws, one of the most popular tag teams, in history, and they should have had a pay-per-view match. You can have Billy Gunn turn on Road Dogg after, they lose to Kane and XPac for the titles. And, Billy Gunn can say he's tired of, carrying the weight of the New Age Outlaws. He's tired of Road Dogg, his mouth cashing checks he can't cash, and he's tired of, being the muscle for him and all that. So, and Road Dogg could, he could come out and say, like, you had no charisma and all that. People like New Age Outlaws because of me. So, that'll be the typical way for them to feud. And I should have Billy Gunn win. Again, in hindsight, the solo run didn't work out, but, if you're going to try it, you might as well give Billy Gunn the win. And this is definitely better than, him kissing the fat lady's ass and all that. So, yeah. Alright, the next match, we got Ken Shamrock versus Chris Jericho, who was oddly not on the card in a match. He had a segment with Road Dogg, but he wasn't in the match. So, yeah, this match was supposed to happen, I believe, at Unforgiven, and Ken Shamrock, he left the company. They're building to this feud, and hindsight again being 2020, you might as well have it on this card. And yeah, the build of this feud, Jericho comes, he debuts and all that, and then he can talk about, he's the most entertaining man in the world, and Raw has, people like Ken Shamrock with no personality and all that. And Ken Shamrock can, he could keep trying to attack Chris Jericho, but Chris Jericho, he keeps getting away. And yeah, it'll be a good hot feud, I think, and you gotta give Jericho the win, especially since he debuted, but also Ken Shamrock's about to leave, so give Jericho the win. He was super hot. He should have been on the card. His debut was just a couple weeks before SummerSlam, so I don't know why they left him off the card. You gotta take advantage of, his debut and have him in a pretty high profile match and give him a win. Alright, now we got the semi-main event. The Rock and Sock Connection versus Triple H and The Undertaker, who are also a part of the corporate ministry. So, yeah, I think I'd have The Rock. He'd still be in the corporate ministry. And they keep jumping Mankind, because Mankind, he's anti corporate ministry. And I just have The Rock, slowly building sympathy towards Mankind because they had an epic feud. He has a lot of respect for him, and then one Raw, he'll turn on the corporate ministry, and yeah, he'll join Mankind. Mankind also before this he'd be pleading to The Rock saying, we should make a team and all that. And yeah, they make the team Rock and Sock Connection, one of the most entertaining things in 1999. And yeah, I'd give them the win. Feel good victory for the faces. And after this match, I'd have Triple H take the sledgehammer and kind of put Taker off the shelf. Taker was taking time off anyways. He wasn't even on the Unforgiven card. Taker had a lot of injuries. He was kind of banged up. So I'd have Triple H take him out here, and then he'll be the true leader of the corporate ministry. And it also kind of builds up, when Taker returns at Judgment Day, the Iron match, I'll give Taker a reason, to return. So I think this will help elevate Triple H, to top heel. It's a good way to write off Taker, but it's also a good way to give Taker a storyline when he returns. And yeah, Triple H, he did win the title on the Raw after SummerSlam, so he definitely win the title, maybe next pay-per-view or No Mercy. So this is slowly building up Triple H as a top heel. And then we got the main event of the evening, the WWF Championship. Steve Austin versus, you guessed it, the Big Show. Yeah. Big Show was brought in to be a main eventer, and this is kind of like the Attitude Era's Hogan versus Andre. We got Austin versus Big Show. Yeah, after WrestleMania, Big Show did chokeslam Vince, which was I wouldn't have done that, but if I'm going with like what WrestleMania was, I'd have Big Show be a face for a bit, and he'd eventually turn on Austin, and he'd join the corporate ministry, and yeah, they want to take the title off Austin. They get the biggest guy they have in the company, and hopefully he could get it done. And Austin will be like, I'm not scared of how big you are, or whatever. I'm still gonna open a can of whoop ass on you. And yeah, I felt like they needed to take advantage of the Big Show, especially considering he did debut at St. Valentine's Day Massacre and all that. And yeah, he threw Austin, over the cage. Big Show could mention that, like, the only reason, you have that title is because of me. Because I was so strong that I threw you through the cage and all that. And, Austin could be like, this ain't WCW, you ain't the man here, I'm gonna kick your ass type thing. And it'll be a good match. And I'd have actually the Big Show win with the help of Triple H. Triple H, Big Show's also part of the corporate ministry, so Triple H would help. The Big Show win, and eventually Triple H, would get it off him, turning on him. But yeah, I think you needed to elevate Big Show. This was his first year in the company, and Austin, he had a lot of lingering injuries. Anyways, he needed to take a break, so that's how I'd have it. The thing is, yes, Jesse Ventura, he was the referee in the main event. So here's two things. If he doesn't want a, main event where the heel wins, I just have a main event, the Rock and Sock match. But if he does want a main event, even if the heel wins, have Triple H jump him and all that, but I'd have Jesse, come to Austin's aid. And at the end, Austin and Jesse could share a beer to end the show. So those are two options depending, on what Jesse wants to do. But yeah, that's my card, guys. Let me go through it one more time. SummerSlam 1999. We got the ladder match, Terri Invitational Tournament Finals, the Hardy Boyz versus Edge and Christian. We got the World Tag Team Championship match, Kane and XPac versus the Big Boss Man and Mideon from the Corporate Ministry. We got the European Championship match, Street Fight, Shane McMahon versus Test. We got the Intercontinental Championship match, Jarrett versus Chyna. We got the Battle of the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg versus Billy Gunn. We got Ken Shamrock versus the debuting Chris Jericho. We got the Rock and Sock Connection versus Triple H and the Undertaker of the Corporate Ministry. And in the main event, we have the WWF Championship match, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Big Show.